level.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Scrubs Allowed podcast. Seal, how's it going, buddy?
It is going. I'm not crying still. It's very happy for me. I'm excited. It was always the Jags. We'll get into it more. We're not going to get long winded to start.
Well,
I'm
we have
excited.
plenty of time to get long-winded because obviously it's playoff time for the NFL, and that's what we want to focus on. But a few touching points first. I mean, this is NFL, I guess, but Damar Hamlin was officially released. He was released from Cincinnati a few days ago, and like what, Monday or something, and went
Yeah.
to Buffalo to their hospital. Now he's released again, which is huge. I'm not sure if they've done actual like stress tests and stuff on the heart to know what the playing type situation is. Obviously not this year, but at all. But just the fact that he is out and with his family and with his team and all that is just amazing. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
Absolutely, dude. Never really done extended stays in the hospital myself, but with birth of kids and then with Junior having to be in there for 2 days, I could just imagine just being in a room. For 2 weeks, let alone all the seriousness. Dude was ready to get out, so to be transferred from Cincinnati hospital to a Buffalo hospital, that had to kind of suck a little bit. But just alone to be able to travel is amazing news, and then to only be there for 2 days and be released is absolutely amazing. Shout out to everybody involved, from the training staff at the beginning of everything going on to the ambulance driver, to the nurses that brought him in, and to everybody that had anything to do with getting Damar better and into a safe, healthier position. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean that's it's just so cool to see all that. We talked about it last week and we were already impressed, but now like it's even more impressive just to see that potentially there's not any sort of negative effects, and hopefully as the long-term effects start to show themselves that they'll be pretty minimal to nothing as well. So that's the hope. We're excited that he is back. But we don't want to be on that Bills bandwagon too long. We'll talk about the actual game in a second. But another huge shout out for us, UCF. We talked about their basketball team last week. They were pretty good, and Seal said, "Yeah, we'll make the play or the tournament. We'll do our thing." Well, obviously, when you're in the AAC, it's still difficult. And going into tonight, we were hosting the Memphis Tigers, which me and Seal know is
Yeah.
always a big deal when you can beat them and rush the court. But even bigger deal in the big picture, Joe Lunardi had the Memphis Tigers as one of the last four teams in, UCF Knights as one of the first four teams out. So we really needed to beat them. We got down like 16 points with like 12 minutes left, and I texted Eddie and I was like, "Dang man, this was our chance." And then we just turned it on, bro. And he ended up winning in double overtime, which was huge. I watched pretty much from that point on because that was right when I got home. And it was really cool to see the kind of backup step up was
Yeah,
fucking
team of
amazing
grit.
because Darius Johnson, the point guard I was talking about, he was out from an injury. Hendricks, the one and done guy we were talking about, he got fouled out in regulation, so he didn't play either of the overtimes. So to have these guys that are just normally not even called on, especially in overtime situation, come out here and do their thing, and it's really exciting. So we just have to keep that ball rolling. There's a few games on the schedule that we could lose, but not very many. We can't lose any more home games. We gotta. The only games we could lose is potentially Houston because they're number one at Memphis, and that's pretty much it. Everything else looks like a bad loss, so we got to get out there and do our business. But we look really good, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun run. Definitely a fun month and a half for UCF. 'Cause like you said, Memphis at home is always a big game. Then throw in the first in, first out for these people who are professionals. They get paid to make stupid ass charts that mean nothing after a night of everybody standing around watching the brackets come out. Their whole 4 months of life just doesn't matter anymore. And anything they said is out the window. But they still make six figures, huge contracts to write these up, so it's
And
huge in that
Lenardi's
aspect.
usually pretty good at it though, which is
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
great.
yeah. And but yeah, man, just keep going and try to get to that conference tournament and see what we can do there. And that's gonna be a big picture is seeding. Try not to get anywhere near Houston until we absolutely fucking have to.
I was wondering why my lighting looked weird, but it's because my other light's on. I was like, there's no way my light is shining on that UCF banner more than anything else.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. And before we get too much into NFL talk, I do want to shout out our first official Scrub of the Year nominee, Quay Walker, number 7. I think that's his name, number 7 for the Green Bay Packers. This man can just not keep his hands off a staff. A month ago, against the Bills, actually, shoved one of their coaches who was trying to get him away from one of the players after a tackle out of bounds and kind of trying to push him away, shoved him, get off of me, don't touch me kind of thing. Same instance, and a win or go home game, you get thrown out. 1, you get thrown out of the game. 2, first down, personal foul bullshit keeps the Lions going, which I think they got a touchdown out of it. And 3, you're pushing a training staff member in the NFL at this sensitive time of training staff people in the NFL. You are
Yeah.
absolutely stupid, bro, and definitely the top dog for Scrub of the Year. It's insane. I was cussing my ass off strictly as an Aaron Rodgers fan. I cannot imagine all those people in Green Bay how they felt, but yeah, that dude has a bad history of not keeping his head straight during games. So we can definitely probably see him on the free agency market here soon.
Right.
But yeah, shout out in the worst way possible to Quay Walker. I think that's right.
Yeah. Well, going into the actual NFL, we talked last week. It's funny. It's really funny because, or to me at least, it's probably not funny to anybody else. But my team is obviously in the NFC. Your team is in the AFC. We made our predictions for who's going to make the playoffs. You were right with your AFC call. I was right with the NFC call.
Yep.
And the NFC, I said that the Lions would win, but it would be for naught because the Seahawks would win earlier in the day. That happened. You said that the Steelers would win, but it would be for naught because the Dolphins would get that win and make it in. And that's exactly what happened. So we at least know our conferences well enough to make predictions. But out of the 7 teams from each side that made it, do you think that over 17 games, the right teams got in? I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, obviously, the Bucks are 8-9, and there are 9-8 teams out there, but there's divisions for a reason, and that's something that Eddie will argue. But do you think the best 7 teams are there, or 14
Yeah,
teams, I
I
guess?
I do. I absolutely do. Maybe like with everything, like you can say, oh, the Steelers are starting to heat up.
Mm,
The Giants, they were falling off. They barely like you go. Oh, even with the Jaguars, you could say, oh, well, if they won and won 5 in a row, and the Titans winning and lost 7 straight, you can always make those up.
you're right.
But yeah, when you look at power rankings and everything going on this year, there's not too many sneaks. There's not a 7-9 Giants team getting in that can go win the Super Bowl. There's a really good coached Brian Dabble team out of New York
Yeah,
that's going to the playoffs. Like they went into week 18 not needing to do shit. Like that's a decent team getting in. There's no really sneaks, right?
yeah,
I mean, you could say with a Tua-less Dolphins, they
yeah.
don't
That'll be
deserve to be
tough.
in. They probably took a spot away from a Steelers team that maybe could have taken a run in the playoffs. But no, I think this is one of those years where probably this time next week we're going to be looking at the top 4 seeds
Yeah,
going on, just because of the way it is, which I'll be happy with. I'm
that'd
a
be
fucking
nice with
sports
me
thief.
too. I'm good.
Yeah, because just the way it looks like with the matchups and everything, you're not really going to get too many surprises in my eyes. I don't see the Ravens being able to do too much. The Dolphins against the Bills, I don't see them doing too much. It's crazy. Everybody has played each other too in
Yeah,
these playoffs. So that's a little weird. The Ravens and Cincy going back to back with it like Drake. That's kind of cool, but nah, I think they got it right. And I think that's more so what this extra game is going to help out with. We're not going to have that 7 and 9 team sneak in, nah, because they're probably going to get knocked out by a friggin'
right.
an 8 and 9 team this year. 7 and 10 is not going to cut it in this day and age in the NFL. So I think that's where I'm gonna become more appreciative of that extra game because it will end up getting like. Could you imagine right now if the Titans were the AFC South champions 3 weeks ago? They're going into this with Josh Dobbs, who's going
Right.
to get fucking steamrolled by that Chargers defense.
Right.
And so, nah, they got it right for sure.
Yeah, and I think the right teams are there too. But one thing, just before we get into the playoffs, looking forward to next year, man. I am excited, if as I can be, not to be a fan, but excited about this Detroit team, dude. They look like
Okay,
they're
so
getting better. No, I mean Seattle. I think it was
okay.
the right team, but Aiden Hutchinson looks fucking good, which we knew he was going to be. Your guy's good too, but Aiden Hutchinson we knew was going to be good. Um,
Well,
they're
T-Rex.
Amon Ra is good. All their DJ Chark is started turning on at the end of the year, and weirdly Jared Goff made it work. But now they can go draft a quarterback and start to do your strategy where you just start fucking throwing nails at a or darts at a dartboard and see what you
Hell
can get.
yeah, bro. Did you watch the Kurt Herbstreit thing I sent you
My phone's
on
always on
Facebook?
mute, so I saw the
Uh,
headline and I saw.
but yeah, no, it's yeah. You're like get these older guys who have been in there for 4 or 5 years. You don't have to get the big name junior coming out of college all the time. You can get the Brock Purdy's of Arizona State who sat around for 5 years and learned the fucking system and how to be a good quarterback. And most of the time, that's going to translate to the NFL instead of trying to put the pressure on these Zach Wilsons that aren't really good and manageable, and then throw them into the NFL. So yeah,
Well,
that's
what do
just
you think
keep getting them.
about? I know this is way higher than Brock Purdy, but what do you think about Stetson Bennett then in a system that now looks like they have weapons, they have two running backs, they have two good receivers, they have the
The thing
defense that
about
can
Stetson
play.
Bennett, man, is the size. Like
Yeah,
you cannot overlook the size. So just look at Tua. I mean,
yeah,
just your body being able to stand in and take these hits, you can't overlook size. Kyler Murray seemed to be really good coming out the gates, but now that they have film on him, it's really fucking hard to be able to throw the ball 5, 10 yards down the field when you're 4 foot tall, trying to throw it over 6, 7 guys. It's a lot easier. That's why Kyler's really good, and they know very notable about the 25, 30 yard passes to DeAndre because he can throw those. He can get the lanes for those. But that shit doesn't work like that. That all that gimmicky stuff, yeah, I can see Stetson Bennett. He's shown if he's in a San Francisco like system, but that's the thing. We don't have a shit ton of fucking Kyle Shanahan's running around uh, taking care of these offensive systems. But yeah, I could definitely see Stetson Bennett able to make it. He's a game manager. He's not a game changer. He can definitely manage the game, and he's also like 5'10", a buck 75, soaking wet with fucking wheels. So yeah, I could definitely see it. Somebody's going to take a chance. It's not like back in the day where I was drafted in the 6th, 7th round, so
yeah.
I might be able to be a third stringer until I can find a backup role. No, more oftentimes than not, if you're going to show your worth really early nowadays, they're looking at these young guns, and if you can ball, you're going to be shown that you can ball. Now, it's going to take luck, and anybody who's ever played more than 3 years in the NFL, that's the first thing they talk about is how lucky they are. It takes a
Right.
lot of luck to be able to even get the shot to show that you can ball, like Brock Purdy did. But yes, Stetson Bennett can do it. There's a lot of these guys out there that are going to have the chance to do it. You don't have to be the C.J. Stroud. You don't have to be the Bryce Young. Um, and I think it's going to pay off a lot more for these NFL teams that start going that route.
I think if I was a quarterback, aside from just wanting to be the number one overall pick in the draft, I think I'd rather be one of those type of guys, dude. If you're gonna draft, if you tell me you're gonna draft me to put me on the Texans or you're gonna draft me to put me on the Lions with those weapons, please, I'll sit. I'll sit a few
Yeah,
picks, a few rounds, go to the
dude.
team with the
Even
weapons.
even look at Josh Dobbs. He's not a horrible quarterback. Like he
Yeah,
went into the game against Jacksonville and had me fucking worried because we couldn't stop Derrick Henry. And when we finally could, he would just stay in the pocket long enough to throw it out to the flat. Like
yeah.
it's very easy in today's age to be able to do really good. Pat Mahomes, I don't know this for sure, but we could all probably count on two hands how many long throws he's made this season in particular, and he still just broke a fucking passing record.
Right.
Like it's insane. Over
Well,
4,000.
and
Like
Geno
these,
Smith broke the Seattle passing record. Like, there's
yeah,
all
like
kinds of crazy
it's
stuff.
insane what you're able to do these days. And I think as long as these kids can learn not to throw the ball away, which if you're a 5 year starter, that's probably not. Will
Right.
Levis, hat. He's probably going to be in trouble. But for the most part, yeah, if you can learn how to like manage a game, that can translate to the NFL. If
Yeah.
you just this guy has crazy arm talent, draft him in the 3rd round. How many how many times does that work out?
But
It
then on the
really
flip
does.
side, you're somebody's going to take Anthony Richardson and say, we don't give a fuck if he was the winner or not. We see that talent. We see the strength. We see the
And
speed.
in 3 years, Lamar is going to be looking for that second contract and be like, "See, I told y'all, everybody can't do what I do, bro. Look
That's
at
true.
Anthony."
Yeah.
He's going to look right at that kid and say, "See, look at
Yep.
Taysom. That's why Taysom's not a starter. He had every
Yeah.
chance in the fucking world in New Orleans to do it, and they wouldn't let him do it because he can't. Like Lamar is Lamar for a reason. That's a fucking what is the? He's weird. He's different in every fucking way.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, so let's move to the right here and right now. Actually, not quite yet right here and right now, but let's back it up a little bit. Um, like we said, there were a few things on the line. Let's talk about just the 4 teams that needed to make stuff happen and make the playoffs. So let's start with the division winners, and that's you guys. You were at the game. How nervous were you at this game? I mean,
Very,
it was gonna come down to the wire.
very man. Going into halftime, I was not too excited at all. Just because we weren't able to get anything done, and it seemed like they were just able to hold on to the clock. The clock
Hmm.
was theirs to do whatever, and we just hadn't shown anything. Yeah, bend or break, that's cool. We were keeping that whole mantra up, but not nothing on offense. That was scary. We put up 41 points the last time we had played them, and we just weren't getting shit. Couldn't get anything going. Every time it seemed like we had a shot, an overthrow, drop pass here, it just wasn't clicking, man. So yeah, I was very worried. Literally the whole second half, all halftime. My buddy Billy, wake up, man, wake up. I'm awake, bro. I'm just not happy. Like I am completely awake right now. And third quarter, standing up, yeah, woo, third down, and they converted. Yeah, that sucks. And just not really too motivated until that strip sack with 3 minutes left in the game. Like
Yeah.
they said hike with 3 minutes left, strip sack, 2:57, clock rolls down. Now they have plenty of time, as one stupid ass Tennessee fan said. But yeah, very nervous. Absolutely nervous. The way our games have gone this season, that's one that we will not win.
Right.
And many years past, that's one that we're getting blown the fuck out by Josh Dobbs. So for our defense to stay in it and stay hungry and stay flying to the ball, that really helped out, man. And how crazy is that kid, Rayshon Jenkins, the one who made the strip sack?
Yeah, that was
He's been
nice.
out of this world for us, a run stuffer. I talked about it last week on the podcast. We got 2 safeties in him and Wingard that are not scared of the run. And it showed. I think they both had like 30 sacks combined in that game. Andre Cisco did his thing too. But yeah, I'm excited. We got through, I think, our toughest opponent besides
Mm,
the Chiefs that we would be facing in the Titans in our first playoff game, realistically.
right.
I'm excited. It's just always a weird game. So we beat the Chargers. You watched that happen. Then we'd probably more than likely, unless the Ravens lose, I think the Ravens have a good shot of knocking off Cincy.
If Lamar
So we
comes
wouldn't,
back.
yeah. So I mean, if we beat the Chargers, we got a really good shot of going to KC and facing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game
Mm. Well,
because we would be facing the Bills, and we all know what's up with the Bills in Jacksonville.
before we get too ahead of ourselves, this was the first like win and move on kind of playoff game in the NFL
Yeah.
for Trevor Lawrence. And we said that the defense was going to be the key. The defense was the key. How confident are you that Trevor Lawrence could win 3 straight games and get you to the Super Bowl?
We all. I'm not. I'm not. Everybody else is keeps telling me to put my foot in my mouth, and I don't mind. I will gladly put my foot in the mouth. I did a couple weeks ago. He has been on a hot stretch. Actually, I said that last week. Oh my, how it changes. But yeah, no, the kid's young. But a fun stat: the kid's never lost on a Saturday night ever. High
That's
school,
true.
college,
Yeah.
NFL, never lost on a Saturday. So if we keep these Saturday games going, I'm down with it. But no, you can definitely tell that he thinks a lot. Like after completions, Tom Brady kind of does a little bit, but for the most part, these guys they'll look at the OC, they'll look at the head coach, and just kind of give I had it. You know,
Right.
maybe sometimes they'll do this. Nah, Trevor's, man, that's what? Like, chill, bro. You're in the NFL now. Like, you're supposed to be this prophet and all this stuff. Like, yeah, get upset, man. Say my fault, but this whole fuck, bro, we're past it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Next
fourth
play.
down now. The punt
Yeah.
team's on. We're past it. Stop going to the fucking sidelines. Yeah, man. No, take 2 seconds, say you fucked up, and keep going. And that shit stays in his head. Like the fucking Zay Jones, wide
Yeah.
open in the end zone. He knew all I have to do is keep this ball down, and that's all he's probably thinking about. And bro, just get out of your fucking head. That's the one thing I will say, and I've been saying about him. If you can just get him into that robot, that
Yeah.
1-2 bam, 1-2 bam, then we're gonna be fine. But in games like Saturday night, you could tell there was no robot. That was all mental, and he was not having a great time. Like who? Oh, we're running. All right, this is gonna be an option. Who throws a football that fucking high on a reverse pitch? He tried to throw it up to the fucking sky cam on that reverse, and I think we saw one that next night by Aaron Rodgers, and he just nice and purdy. And then on Monday night in the national championship game, the Bulldogs do it, and whoop! Oh, look, we can do it in college too. Because whoop, it's nothing. It's a whoop, not a wah. So once he gets out of his mind, I think he'll settle down. In the next couple of years, yeah, that's our guy. Like he should like keep taking those steps into being a guy, right? In Josh Allen's second year, they didn't
Right.
really have too many high hopes and everything, and the magnifying glass is all over Trevor, which I'm down with. But no, I'll take a healthy Tua right now to lead me through the playoffs over Trevor.
Well, one team that does not have a healthy Tua. Well, actually, there's 32 teams without a healthy Tua because there is not a healthy Tua. But yeah, the next team that had to win and get in, and that's the Dolphins, and they had to do it without Tua. So it's Skylar, right? Is that what it is? Thompson.
Skylar Thompson. Well,
He
because
got to
Teddy Pinky Ring Bridgewater broke his pinky.
Yeah. So he got to play and kind of show a little bit, but not a lot. So they get it done. It's against the Jets, and the Jets that I don't think cared to win. But Thompson threw a shit ton. He
Flacco
threw.
didn't care to win.
Yeah, that's true. Thompson threw like 30 something times, but he only had like 150 yards, no scores, nothing like that. How nervous are you if you're a South Florida fan? Obviously, I don't think they thought that they could win the Super Bowl. Maybe they did with Tyreek and Waddle, but um, even just this first game, like how nervous are you to even try to advance one round?
Yeah, you got to be very nervous because through that Miami stretch that they had going where they were 8-3, it seemed like anybody could have made those throws. Like there was just
Yeah.
so much separation. Like Tua was able to put fucking hang time on these throws down the middle of the field when they're only 20 yards. Like there was these weird lofty throws. I saw it in fucking real life, like in person. Him do it in real life. This is real life. This isn't a simulation. But
Yeah, we're
I
real life
saw
right here.
I saw him do it in person, and it's even more weird in person. Like how much air he's able to put on these throws, and nobody can get to him just because of the separation that Waddle and Tyreek and what's his name? Albert? No, Albert Wilson's not there. Is he? I don't know. There was some other dude that was out
Some
there
Wilson, yeah.
making big time plays. Yeah, 16. And so you would think, but no, that was a little worrisome. And from Teddy in the game before, a little worrisome just because of the numbers that they're putting up. I mean, yeah, he's throwing the ball like crazy, but it's just not there. So I would definitely be worried. You're not going to be able to go and run the ball like crazy on Buffalo. They've shown they can't do that.
Yeah.
They tried to. They got Jeff Wilson, another Wilson, solely because of that, and it's still not able to transpire on the field. So yeah, they're kind of fucked in my eyes. But also they're kind of lucky in that aspect that this Bills offense is not chugging.
Yeah.
Like, it is not chugging. What we've seen last week and the week before, and the little bit we saw a week before and last week without Nyheim Hines, that's not as sweet of a
Right.
victory if it is a victory against the Patriots. So that's the only thing the Dolphins have to look forward to is they have a really good secondary. They have Xavier Howard still, and they have some dogs that can get to the quarterback. It's just how many rushing yards are you about to get this Buffalo team who can't rush for shit get?
Yeah. Well, the second thing that they have going for them, a guy that I listen to a lot, and if you are listening to this podcast, that means you probably like sports, and so you probably listen to this guy as well, and that's Bill Simmons. But one of the guys, the teams he says are the hardest teams to bet against in the playoffs are the nobody believes in us teams. And that's what this is. If there's one team, it's this one. They're playing against the Bills, who are the Super Bowl favorites before the season started. Josh Allen was the MVP favorite before the season started. Tua goes down with like 3 concussions in the year. They have Thompson, and they're going to Buffalo, a team they've played twice, a team they can't figure out, and nobody expects them to win. Nobody expects anything. They're just happy that they were the 7th seed, that they made it in. And those are teams you got to be scared of, because in the locker room, that's not what's being told. In the locker room, they believe they can win, and they're going to go out there and they're going to play hard. And I think we're not at the prediction stage yet, but I think they're going to play a really fucking good game. But I do think if you're a fan, you should just be happy that they're here. Unless they get blown out the way that TCU got blown out, then maybe you'll be upset. But if they play a close game, I think you're happy if you're a Miami fan.
For sure. See, I don't know if I'd throw that stick around just because they don't really have a quarterback. Even if it was Teddy B, they don't really have a proven quarterback that can like get a win, really against the NFL team right now, let alone in the playoffs against a playoff team. But I would put that more on maybe you guys or us.
But people believe
not
in
even
Tom
as
Brady. He's the
fans.
GOAT. They're gonna fucking believe.
No, the only reason people think y'all might have a chance at getting to the second round is because y'all are playing the one round wonders and the Cowboys.
If every team wins the Super Bowl,
what you're saying, or the Seahawks.
if every team wins the Super Bowl, nobody would have said, "Holy shit, the Bucks won." I mean, they would, but they'd be like, "Oh, Tom Brady, of course the fucking Bucks won." Like if we win the Super Bowl, it would be surprising, but it's not because nobody believes in us. I don't believe in us, but maybe they'll put that on their billboard. Travis doesn't believe in you guys. It would be them or Seattle for my pick for nobody believes in us. But that's moving on. Actually, we've both been just fucking transitioning like crazy with our weird one.
I'm so mad. How do we beat a team by 30 points and we're the underdogs at home? Suck my.
We beat Dallas and we're the underdogs at home too.
Well, because y'all won fucking 5 games this year.
We won 1 less than you, and we crushed Dallas. So in Dallas, we fucking crushed Dallas. So whatever. Fuck it. But anyways, you guys should be the favorites against Dallas too. I'm not saying you shouldn't. The last team that needed to win was Seattle, and they were playing an Aaron Donald-less Rams, a Matt Stafford-less Rams, a Sean McVay-less Rams. I know he was there, but he didn't give 2 shits. And they still should have lost. That game was nuts, man. I was pissed. I texted Eddie that I was so mad that was the game that was on my TV. I was like, this game doesn't fucking matter. And I knew it mattered to Seattle, but I was mad that they picked that one instead of, I don't even remember which game I wanted to watch, but it wasn't that one. But then it turned out to be a really freaking good game, so I was happy about that. Seattle gets it done. They showed grit, and it's just, I think they should be happy, but I almost think they should have been trying to lose and just go keep rebuilding this thing. Like Geno Smith had an amazing season. He's in a Pro Bowl. Shout out to him. He deserves it. He's not your guy. You're not trying to win with Geno Smith, so it's almost kind of like a chink in their rebuilding that they were trying to do. Like this kind of sets them a year back that Geno found himself a year and did so well. But every team's happy to be in the playoffs always. But this is the one where I would be like, man, we should have just let another team go in there and let's be done with this.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they're all right. It's just they're one of those teams that they have to have some shit go their way for that offense to start clicking.
Yeah,
they're just not like an offensive powerhouse that points any way you can in these playoffs, and they have a couple of ways, and then they get lucky.
But so, Walker's a dog, though. He's good. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. No,
I was gonna say. No, they're really vacuuming right now.
Oh, maybe I can faintly hear, but it just sounds like a normal nothing. It doesn't sound like a big droning out vacuum.
Who does that though?
I thought it was just a fan or something on. But anyways, yeah, it is going to be tough for them to win, and since they are the first game of the week, we'll just continue to transition. And let's talk about that game. Seattle gets to see somebody, as you alluded to earlier, every team gets to see somebody they're used to. Seattle gets to see San Francisco. Seattle gets to see Brock Purdy. They even played the 49ers just a couple weeks ago, right? With Brock Purdy. So they
Yeah, I'm
know
pretty sure.
exactly what they have to come out with. But it's the Saturday morning. Well, it's not morning. It's the first game of the playoffs for a reason, and it's because the schedule makers think it'll be the worst game of the playoffs. Do you agree with the schedule makers? How do you think this is going to happen?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be ass. Uh, Pretty sure people in San Francisco would have enjoyed to have a little bit of time to tailgate and get ready to celebrate.
Yeah.
But no, they're going to have a really good Saturday night, it seems like, in San Francisco until 10 o'clock when everything closes because it's San Francisco. Um, I don't know that to be true. I just feel like San Francisco would be a sleepy town.
And the shitty part is if what I'm about to predict happens, which you guys will know as soon as I'm explaining this, if um, they might have to wait all the way until Monday night to know who they're playing. All that has to happen is the Giants upset the Vikings, and then the 49ers literally just lose a day of game planning where they're like, why did you make us play on Saturday where now Sunday doesn't matter? And then they have to game plan for the winner of our game. But I think the 49ers should easily roll. Um, the the thing about the Seahawks is they're good, but they're not going to surprise anyone. They're not going to bring anything. They have the George O'Leary offense. They're going to run it a couple times and then see if DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett can make a good catch and otherwise punt it or kick a 55-yard field goal with their guy. And that's pretty much it. And
Yep.
the 49ers are just better than that. So I think it'll be short-lived for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be close-ish, but only losing by 10, 14 points is going to be a victory for the Seahawks riding into the
Yeah.
offseason, I think. To
Yeah.
a team that could go on to win the whole damn thing.
For sure. And I think the 49ers believe that even with Brock Purdy. I think the 49ers believe that they are the best team at least in the NFC and that nobody scares them and they rightfully so. Oh, let me back up for a second. Shout out or not shout out, but props to KC and Philly. We don't get to talk about you guys this week because you're sitting
Yeah.
on your ass doing whatever. So good job by you guys. Anyway, so now back to the game. Yeah, I think San Francisco is just easy money, and they're probably happy to play that extra game too because it's against the Seahawks. It's an easy win in their eyes, and Brock Purdy just gets a little bit more, right? He gets a little bit more reps,
Yeah.
playoff reps in a game that they believe that they can win. If they were the team that had to go in and face either Tampa Bay, Dallas, New York, I guess, then they would have been a little bit more worried to start out that way. Starting out against Seattle, I don't think they're too worried.
I agree. The only team I feel like that could have benefited from a 1 seed would have been the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely.
all these other
The
teams would
Vikings could
gladly.
have, but
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that too. Yeah, I just like any of them wouldn't have minded having a warm up game against the Seahawks, and that's no disrespect to them. I just think the Eagles would definitely beat them. Like
yeah,
49ers are definitely going to beat them. The Vikings, yeah, I didn't think about
they
that,
probably
but
still would beat the
the
Seahawks pretty
Cowboys
good.
are would be a little. So yeah, if it was
Little
if it was
dicey,
bye week or 2 seed, they would definitely do everything they could in their powers to not have to face the
right?
Seahawks. But I think the Eagles or the Niners, whoever it was, would not have minded a little tune up.
Yeah, for sure.
And the
Um,
49ers need it, which is very scary to think of, actually.
I know. I don't want them to be any more tuned. I personally am a biggest Vikings fan on Sunday that I could be because I don't want to see San Francisco right away. I would rather see Philly. Like honestly, I'd rather see Philly.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's move on now. The next game is you guys. It's you and the Chargers. I think the reason the Chargers are the favorite is because they're so used to not having fans in the stadium. So they're not going to be phased heading to Jacksonville.
We had
Like,
over 70,000 people, and I don't think that's been done in
yeah,
a very like since the 90s. Honestly, I have no research on that, but even in 2017, I don't remember seeing 70
yeah,
at any point in time. And everybody that was anybody at the game, anybody that watched it on TV, it's never been that like that atmosphere has never happened. What happened Saturday night, and there's no way that doesn't get repeated times 10.
Yeah,
I there was people standing in the bud zone, but there wasn't a lot of standing room only tickets going. That's all that's left right now. Unless you get
right.
resale, you're getting $150 standing room only tickets, and it's going to be absolutely fucking bonkers. And you could see the whole time Dobbs was just like holding on to his ear. And that team over there in the Chargers, Justin Herbert's likes to be a little mini Peyton Manning and run up to the line and make changes and adjustments and shit. And that's going to get hindered a lot. I feel like so we could see a lot of miscommunication there. But yeah, for the usual home team gets the 3
Yeah.
and us still be the underdogs is crazy.
Well,
Like
and what's
that's crazy
weird
to me.
is it's not even like a full. I'm sure the odds makers think it's going to be a full strength Chargers, but Joey Bosa went out last game. Eckler was tweaked last game. Mike Williams had to get helped onto the bus after the game last
Yeah.
game. And yeah, they're all expected to play, but this isn't the on paper bowl. Like you're playing football, and you guys already showed that you can stop these guys. And now Eckler was the only one with any promise in the first game that you guys played them. So now
Yeah.
it's even scarier if he's banged up.
Bosa got hurt early in that first game, so we didn't
That's
have a
true.
full
Yeah.
game of Bosa. But still, if he's like this, this is going to be a fun game to watch because what we were able to do in that first game is a lot of James Robinson to and then Travis Etienne in the pass play. We don't have James Robinson anymore. So I'm really excited to see what we're able to do with Etienne and Hasty now that we have this 2 speed backs. And
Yeah.
that first game, what they think they could focus on, they really don't have a lot of tape. So I'm excited for that fact that that first game, what we were able to be successful at, isn't even in the fucking window. So
Right.
they have no idea what we're going to be able to be successful at this time or what we could do. They just have previous tape against other teams,
Right.
and you got some weird tape. You can look at our good ones, or you can
Exactly.
look at the Tennessee game last week of what you want to do and try to implement an in-division rival, or you can look at every other fucking game. Or you can look at the Lions game. I guess you could
Yeah.
put that shit on repeat. Repeat. Look at the Broncos game, but we weren't. That was a different team, the Jaguars. But yeah, no, I'm excited. Not even as a fan, I would probably feel like the Jags are being disrespected at home right now, for what they've been able to do and the run they're on. This is a game of momentum, and there's not really a bigger run right now other than the Chiefs. They didn't think
Yeah,
they
the
were going to
Chiefs
be anything at the
have the
beginning of the
momentum.
year.
The Bengals maybe, but the Bengals knew they were in the playoffs. The Chiefs knew they were in the playoffs. You guys
Yeah,
had to win these games, and that
yeah,
that's what makes it different. The Chargers, they're a good team, but
yeah.
if you've watched these Chargers games, not counting yours because yours was an absolute blowout, but if it's going to be a close game, which playoff games are close 85 times out of 100, the Chargers suck at close games. They know how
Yeah.
to lose games. That's just what they do. You guys just had a close game that you had to win. It was a must win, and your guys showed your chops. Did they play their best? No, but they showed that they know how to win. The Chargers, time and time again, have shown that they know how to lose close games. And their coach, which we'll see if he changes anything in the playoffs, he's by far the stupidest coach in the sense of like taking risks. He
Yeah.
doesn't calculate his risk, he just takes it. He doesn't care. So that could come back to bite them too because your defense is so good that if you take risk, you're going to give Trevor Lawrence that little bit of the advantage that he might have needed to push it over the top. So
Even
it's going to
it's
be
like
close.
our scoring defense is bonkers.
Yeah.
So if they mess up at all, like there's a chance you can get 6 on the board without the offense even stepping on the field.
Yeah.
And like we saw this past weekend, that changes the whole fucking game
Yeah.
more times than not, for our team. Like, and we saw against the Cowboys, if you start giving us turnovers and giving our offense chances, we're going to come back and find a way to win. Like
Yep.
this team's different, man, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but uh, it's hopefully going to be
Yeah.
at least a 2-score game.
I think it'll be really close. I think it'll be closer than that, but I think I've watched enough Chargers games, and maybe I'm jaded because I live out here, but I think they'll find a way to blow it. So I think you guys will sneak by one way or the other. But I don't even know who their kicker is right now, but he might shank one or something and give you guys the win. But it's
Think
gonna
it's
be that
Dicker.
close. Oh yeah, it is Dicker the kicker. He's better now. No, Dicker is the
Yeah.
Rams, isn't he?
It is the
Yeah, Dicker's the
Rams.
Rams. He is LA, but yeah, he's the Rams. So I don't know who the Chargers kicker is, but
Yeah,
um, he'll choke, and you guys will take it.
indeed.
So moving on to
Buccaneers.
to Sunday, these games. I don't know who the scheduler people are, but I don't know that there's a good game on Sunday. I just think this is a tough round of football.
Yeah.
But the first game is the Bills hosting the Dolphins. We talked about it a little bit, but it's Thompson versus the Bills in Buffalo. I don't think there's much to say. I think they might do this DeMar Hamlin thing if he's able to show up, and they're going to be hyped. And if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. This is the game that they're going to do it. I know last game was as well, but if he's at the game, if he's able to attend, this is going to be the game where they might drop 60 just because they can. And then it puts a target on next week to suck potentially. But I don't think the Bills will suck this week. It'll be easy mode.
Yeah, that offense for the Dolphins is going to be bad. I agree. Not too much to talk about. Dolphins, young Dolphins, Bills by 30.
Yeah. Good by you guys to make the playoffs. Well done.
Yeah.
So now in prime lunchtime, if you're out here on the West Coast, you're gonna be eating your lunch, you're gonna be having a good time, and there's gonna be a shitty football game on with New York and Minnesota. And Minnesota could not have drawn a better lot unless they could have got the number 1 seed. Um, than the Giants, who are a better team than them, better coach than them, but they've been reeling, and we don't know if they could stop the bleeding or not. They tried against Philly, which is a great sign. Um, if you are a Giants fan, you thought that your team might be lifeless, your team might just lose out and just be over it, but they tried to beat Philly.
Yeah.
So that's some sign of confidence. We know that Minnesota sucks, but Minnesota has weapons, and it's not prime time, so I think Kirk can get it done.
Yeah, and I don't know how much, like, honestly, Philly was trying to give up before the playoffs with their
Mm,
offense. Because, it just kind of looked boring, and it
yeah.
wasn't like that normal Philly razzmatazz Sirianni special bullshit with his flowers and dogs. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I would be kind of concerned if I'm a Vikings fan just to
Mm,
even be playing in the playoffs from what's been going on. And for it to be the Giants, if you lose to the Giants in the playoffs, that fan base is going to be pissed
yeah.
and going to be calling for some skulls. But I realistically, paper to paper, the Vikings should win this game. But man, if the Giants are able to have that grit they did last week and be
Yeah.
able to come back, because we I think we can both agree that the Vikings should be able to get off to a fast start. They
Yeah.
should be able to get up pretty fast. Um, but to sustain it against that Giants team that played last weekend is going to be very hard. So we'll see what happens, man. This is going to be a toss up. If I had to put money on it, I'd probably go with the Giants in a close one.
Mm. Yeah, I mean the odds, like the better bet in my opinion is also the Giants. But the it yeah, the Vikings have won close games this year. We don't know how. We don't know what's happened. But in close games they're like 10-2 or whatever they are. So
Yeah, it's weird.
maybe they'll get it done again. I think they can sneak fast. Um, if they win, they're locked in to play the 49ers unless Seattle pulls off a miracle. Um, and if they lose, then our game actually matters, but for future, not for the Vikings, I guess. But I think they'll get it done, and I think it will be a close game. But scary part is if you're a Vikings fan, beating the Giants doesn't give you any sort of confidence. You
Yeah.
want this team to show you that they have something going, because if your next opponent is the 49ers, that like you can't even be phased by the Giants. You got to roll through them and make it look easy. And I don't think that's going to happen. So
Yeah, no, if it's any type of game, you definitely are going to be concerned as a Vikings fan. And as a 49ers fan, you got to be very excited to get the win because again, that Giants defense is scary, and going up against Brock Purdy, you might not be able to put a lot of points on the board.
Yeah,
And Giants can win some close games too if they need to.
that'd be fun.
Just
I kind of hope
feed
the Giants
fucking
win.
Saquon, bro. That would be insane. If they
Yeah.
were able to ride the coattails of Saquon a couple games, oh man.
Well, so if the Giants win, assuming like no, I mean we're just throwing shade at Seattle all day long, but assuming at least with that game being over, they'll know who they play, right? So if the 49ers have won and the Giants win, they get the Eagles. If the
Yeah.
Seahawks win and the Giants win, then it's our game, I guess. So that's what I'm cheering for, I guess. Why not?
Yeah,
But
so yeah. Yeah, if the Giants win, they would automatically get the Eagles, and yeah, the winner of you guys would be going up against the 49ers.
yeah, so that's why I'm a Vikings fan, because if the Vikings win, they have to play the 49ers. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm going to cheer for the Vikings. So maybe that's making me a little biased, but I think they can get it done in a close one. And it's great because as long as the Bucks remain in this thing, they're going to be playing in prime time. So we'd get Kirk Cousins under the lights, which would be beautiful. So yeah, I'm really pulling for the Vikings here. So the next game is, I guess, the good game, like you said, Baltimore. So it's Baltimore at Cincy. Um, if Lamar Jackson plays, I guess that's a big if, but he's got to be trending that way. He still didn't practice though, did he today?
I don't think so, no.
So
I'll look up.
I honestly though I don't think it matters. If he plays, it'll be a close game, but I think Cincinnati has too many weapons. I think they have bad blood for the Ravens because they literally just played them, and I think they're ready to shock the world again and just try to keep that run going. I think Cincinnati's gonna win, and if it's not Lamar Jackson, then they're gonna win handily. If Lamar's in there, then it'll be a close fourth quarter game. But I just think the Bengals have too many weapons.
It's been hard to score on that Ravens defense, dude, as
Yeah.
of late. The last team to score more than holy shit. Yeah, so the Bengals were the second highest ones in the last like 10 games. The Jaguars at 28 are the highest one. They barely lost by 1 point, 28-27, because Justin Tucker didn't have that much of a leg for it.
I know that
But
was nuts.
and then they barely got away this weekend. I mean, Jamar Chase had to pull out Jamar Chase shit for them to get
Yeah.
that momentum to seal the game there. And like, who knows what's going to happen? It's a new week. It's playoff football. They really great coached both ways. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't see anything on here about Lamar.
Yeah, I mean that
He just
changes
needs
everything.
sucks.
But
Yeah, Lamar's still not practicing, and Huntley is actually on schedule. So
can
there's
Huntley
that.
beat the Bengals?
No.
I don't think so either. So if you want the Ravens to win, you're pulling for Lamar. And that defense, yeah, like you said, the defense is going to keep them there, but the offense has to do something. We've seen time and time again defenses just get worn out no matter how good they are. So the offense has to do something, and I don't know what their game plan will be if they can't play, but the offense has to figure out a way to do anything. And but even if Lamar's there, right? If his knee is tweaked, right? How much do you think he's going to want to be Lamar? He's looking for a contract. So, one, he has to be really awesome to get the contract, but two, he has to stay healthy to make sure he gets the contract. So where do you think his head's at if he is playing at let's say 85, 90%? Where do you think his head's at?
See, and I feel like that's why he's not playing because like Lamar is so different. Like he has to be at 100%.
Right.
Like he has to be able to have his quickness, his quick change, twitch, all that weird shit that he does and is so special at doing. Like he has to be at 100%, right? Like if he's playing at 85%, he's going to look like Huntley out there.
Yeah.
Like he's going to look like what people expected out of him coming into the NFL. And could they get through it? Could they make it simpler? Yeah, but he got big for a reason, and that's to be able to run the ball the way he does. He's not able to if he's not able to make those quick cuts, and he's turning into a Josh Allen. I feel like that's going to slow that offense down. Got to remember that receiving core doesn't catch touchdowns. It doesn't
Right.
happen. So that's not like too big of an issue with the passing game. Like that's not what they're worried about. They're worried about being able to get Lamar on the ground in open space and make
Right.
shit happen. If he's getting an open space and having to go down after 5, 6 yards, that's going to be a long fucking game, and that's going to hurt your quarterback even more if you do get through the Bengals to the next round.
Right. Yeah. I think the Ravens are in a no-win situation. I think Lamar is in a no-win situation. This is just one of those times that the bet on yourself didn't quite work. And it's not even that it didn't work for Lamar. He's still going to get a good contract. But the fucking Deshaun Watson contract screwed him so bad because he knows that he is better than Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Every free agent quarterback probably believes that they're better than Deshaun Watson, and they probably all have an argument. But the Ravens are the wrong team. They are not going to give away that a stupid contract, and like that's the thing. They're like, hey, listen, the Browns are idiots. We've known the Browns are idiots for a long time. We're in their division. We see it all the time. We're not going to make that stupid decision, and it just sucks for Lamar because he definitely deserves more than Deshaun Watson, but he does not deserve that contract. Nobody really does. It's a stupid
Yeah.
contract.
And they're gonna be like, oh man, but we just made Roquan the highest paid linebacker of all time. Where do you think all this money's gonna come from?
Yeah, that was it was a smart move, but a stupid move. I just definitely think that Lamar's gone. We'll talk about that when they're finally out of the playoffs, but I think he's heading somewhere else, especially with this Roquan deal. Like they're gonna say we're gonna franchise tag you, and he's gonna go, fuck that, I'm
Yep,
outie, and he's gonna go somewhere else. So that's what I
I
think is gonna
agree.
happen. But let's move on. So now it's Monday night. They don't normally do playoffs on Monday night,
Monday.
right? Or do
They
they?
started. I guess they probably started it last year with the Super Weekend,
Oh
Super
yeah, that's
Wild
right.
Card bullshit.
But yeah, so now we get Monday night. At least they made it a 4-5 so that all the matchups are done. Like when we are playing, we will know who we're playing against because it won't matter. So I think that's a smart move. It's not one of those where it's like if one team wins, then this is how the playoffs. If this team wins, this is how it is. So that's kind of cool that they made it our game. But they also made it our game because it's America's team versus Tom Brady.
So,
And it's a crapshoot, man. Like, I'm obviously a Tampa Bay fan, so I'm going to say that Tampa Bay is going to win. But this game, legitimately, if you played it out over 100 games, you would have a game where Dallas won by 40 points. You'd have a game where Tampa Bay won by 25 points or so, and you'd have a game where it came down to a field goal. And it could be any of those, and I wouldn't even know what happened. You could have a game where a pick six sealed it. You could have a game where Tom Brady throws for 500 yards. I truly don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely hope that Tampa Bay wins. I hope that Mike Evans 200-yard, 3-touchdown game 2 weeks ago was a real thing, was them clicking. Last week, I don't give two shits. I don't even know why we were playing our starters. But I hope that the Carolina game was what actually is happening in practice and that they're starting to get the groove because I'm sorry, I love you, Diggs, but you can't hang with Mike Evans if he's clicking and he's rolling, it's a wrap, and we'll
yes,
score at will.
especially Diggs with Tom Brady, he's going to be peaking a lot, and Tom
Yep.
Brady's going to be able to use that to his advantage pretty easily. But
But that's best case scenario, which is probably not what's going to actually happen.
yeah, no, I really don't think y'all's offense is going to be able to keep up with theirs. Um, I think this is a year where they're going to be able to get through the first round, and not even if it's just you guys. Like they would have stood a good chance against whoever the
So
fuck would have came out of the
just
NFC.
real quick
South.
before we talk about this game more, I wanted to back it up, but I forgot. Um, what happened against Washington? Did they just say like, listen, Philly's gonna fucking beat the Giants? Like, is that what their mindset was, or like what? Why were they so bad against Washington?
Yeah, I don't
That
know.
had to be it, right? Like they had to just go into it thinking, well, Philly's gonna win, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, why were you guys so bad against the Falcons?
Because it didn't matter. We were the 4 seed.
Yeah.
Dallas could have been the 1 seed. If all went like they should have been going into it with a mindset of we could be the 1 seed.
True,
And they
I
laid a
understand what
fucking
you're
egg.
saying.
So
I understand what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know.
I mean, that could be a curtain. You know, it could be some mist, a little bit of trickery. But I doubt it. That could definitely be the Cowboys. But dude, I just don't see Big Mike McCarthy letting that happen 2 weeks in a row. I don't see it, and they
Yeah.
haven't shown that they do that 2 weeks in a row.
Todd
this
Bowles
season.
will let it happen 2 weeks in a row. I'll tell you that.
They
He doesn't
like
care.
the Cowboys have been a team that can definitely bounce back from these losses and get their shit together, and the playmakers in which they have to do it. They have quite a few, and I think they'll be able to show. Do they have Pollard back?
I don't know.
I don't either.
But
Who knows?
I'm definitely nervous, but I'm not as scared of them as I would have been maybe 4 weeks ago. They're just right before they played you guys. I feel like I would have been the most scared of them. And then you guys said they're really not that scary. And then they stopped looking scary. They looked scary against you guys for a little bit, and then it just unraveled. So I don't know, man. We haven't seen Dak play in a huge game, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't play in him in college. He's not played it in Dallas so far. Ezekiel Elliott, who knows? Pollard's better. And it's scary because the light is so big on them. And Tom Brady's been here so many times before. He's actually undefeated against the Cowboys. So let's hope to keep that streak going. And that's what I'm hoping for. But I have to go in expecting to lose. We're a home dog, just like you guys are. Will I be mad if we lose? Absolutely. Will I be surprised if we lose? No. Will I be surprised if we win? No. So I think it could go any way, shape, or form. I will be surprised if Seattle wins. Once again, to just dig on my friends in Seattle, I guess. I won't be surprised if Tampa Bay wins or if they lose.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be hard.
It'll be a fun Monday night game,
to
though.
win. For sure. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, no, Tony Pollard's good to go, it looks like.
Oh, then we're fucked. But yeah, I don't know. No, it's exciting. It's it's cool that these are the matchups. It's just so weird. We got division matchups throughout. We got teams that I feel like the Giants would lose to any of the top 4 seeds except maybe the Vikings. I feel like the Vikings would lose to any of the wild card teams except maybe the Giants. So it's cool that like those are the ones that get matched up together and things like that nature. We got the divisions. We like I said, we got all these fun matchups. You guys you got the Chargers trying to get some revenge over the worst loss in their recent years. So a lot of cool storylines even for the first round of the playoffs. So it's exciting. We'll get to see good football and then move on from there and talk about it next week.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for this week, and I'm hoping both of our teams are able to get through. But we'll see. It sucks that we decided to do this whole dry bullshit during playoff football that we're both in for the first
We'll
time.
both make it to February. Don't worry about it.
Shit.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Nah.
And
that
just
would be dope though to celebrate a fucking conference championship 2 days later.
just to put it in writing, MVP is Mahomes again, right? He's a wrap. He took care of business with that win streak. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks for Jalen for sure. If he wouldn't have got injured, it was his to lose.
Yeah.
And then that shit they did. He didn't look too hot last week.
I have a bet out there for Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl, and it is still alive. I have not had to rip it up just yet. You'd think with 9 losses you'd have to rip it up, but nope, not yet. It's going to require 10 losses, and I hope we don't get to number 10.
And you said, you're like, bro, I couldn't get you an AFC South. I was like, nah, bro, don't waste the money.
Yeah. I also though saved you. You wanted to put some money on Aaron Rodgers for MVP. Saved you on that too. So, so I saved you and then we also hurt you. So well, whatever. But I have
gambling.
I have an LAFC ticket to cash in already. I have a Tampa Bay
Hey-o.
ticket waiting for me, and I have a Suns ticket waiting for me. And I want to go in June and give me all three of my teams, baby.
So you have to go a year after
The
when it
event.
happens?
Yeah.
After the event? All right.
Yeah. So
That's what's up.
I can wait for all of them, which it's not a big deal. It's a 4-hour drive. I can go whenever I need to. And
That's so
I
dope.
think there's MGM right at that first city, the Prim or whatever. So it's not even a 4-hour drive if I just need to cash it out. So
That's dope.
it's like
That's cool.
3 hours, 3.25 maybe, and I
Because
can
that
cash it
3 hour,
in.
it took 3 hours and like 4 hours to the stadium and 4 hours right back. If we would have lost, oh,
That would
God.
have been a long drive, bro. All right. Well,
I
we're
would
gonna
have
get
been like,
out of here.
drive chair anywhere starting back tomorrow.
All right.
Drown in my sorrow.
So we're gonna get out of here by shouting us out. Just kidding. I did want to put it again. We're gonna stay accountable. We stay accountable with our rec leagues. We're now staying accountable with our Dry January. Our goal started out as 50 suicides. Well, it started out as a lot more, but it became 50 suicides a week. And what is it? 250 push-ups a week. But now we've kind of sucked, so we've consolidated it to where it's 200 suicides in a month. That is 50 times 4, and 1,000 push-ups in a month, which is 250 times 4. So for all you math whizzes, I have not done a single suicide. In my defense, it has been fucking storming, which is crazy. I don't know if you've seen the headlines, but California over the last 2 days, which I know it's the 11th of January, but over the last 2 days has gotten 600% of their annual rainfall in those 2 days as a state.
That's
So
crazy.
it has been crazy. I have not been able to go outside and run. But I have run in the gym. It's different. I've run in the elliptical long distance, so I'm not even counting it. But I'm trying to keep my cardio so when I do have to go out there and do it, it won't be that bad. But I have been doing push-ups. I'm rolling. Been doing 50 a night. It's not that hard to do 50. I could do all 250, not in one setting, but I could do all 250 in a day if I really had to. It's the suicides that's going to be the problem.
Suicides are the
So
worst, bro. Suicides are the absolute worst.
have you gotten through
I need to
any?
go 15. I
Nice.
need to go to a basketball court because I feel like I am fucking myself. Like
Like you're running too
royally
far?
fucking. Yeah, like a lot far.
Well, so a basketball court with just regular steps, I calculated this all out, is like 40 regular steps. So I'm just going to do it 10 steps, 10 steps, 10 steps, 10 steps, even though we know the free throw line is shorter than it is from free throw to
Yeah,
half. I'm going to just do it in segments. But as long as the
that's fine. You
longest
got the
one,
cones. I need to get
as
this.
long as the longest one is about 40 just normal people steps, you're good.
Then I'm probably fucking myself.
Hey, well, I haven't done any suicides. How many can you get through
Shit's
in
murder,
one
bro.
setting before you're like dead to the world? Because I'm
I
trying
can't
to
do.
do 10 in one. Is that
I
too
could do
much?
10. Nah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I'm resting. Like I'll do two, chill,
Well, yeah.
two, chill. Then I start hitting like one, hang out for a second. Then yeah, it's low rolling.
So my goal, quote unquote, is to bring the agility ladder out also and do like a suicide agility ladder thing, suicide agility ladder thing. But I don't know if it'll work out. We'll see. And
Yeah,
for what it's worth, the rec league starts up next week as well. So I will be doing suicides in actual games. But yeah.
start counting. Just have Courtney sit there and count.
Yeah. We're running it back, which I'm super excited about. We lost one guy, but it was a guy that we expected to lose, and he was pretty much the worst guy on our team. So it's okay. He's just one of their best friends. He's got 2 kids. They're getting into youth soccer and stuff now. He just doesn't have time. But we did reload that with another guy. So we still have 7, but 6 of them are the same. We still have our 2 big guys that we needed. The guy that we signed as the 7th guy is another fast, athletic dude. So we'll have 2 people that
Nice.
can press people if we need to. So I think we're starting to round into form, but our most important five, our starting five, is all going to come back for the first year ever. So that we're running it back with the same starting five. So I'm excited. It'll be good.
Good shit, bro. That's awesome.
And that
That's really
starts up
dope.
next week. So
Yeah, so I need to find something. There's got to be another something around here I can
yeah, there's
go
got to be a
do in the
more
winter
casual,
time.
just keep you in shape league, and then you can go do your big ass, you win MVP type shit. Because we don't have an MVP in our league. I need to find one like yours. You need to find one like mine, and then we can
Yeah, for
run
real.
both. But the real shout out that I wanted to do to get out of here, unless you had something to give before, a shout out to Naomi Osaka. She is pregnant, and we all know, well, we physically don't know, but we have seen as sports fans what happens when women get pregnant in sports. A lot of times, they don't play for obvious reasons. They don't play for at least a couple of years, but they're never quite the same. But Naomi Osaka is pretty young, but the shout out is really that she's pretty much already done her dream, man. She beat her hero in Serena Williams. She's won majors. She's won the Olympics. She's played for her country. I think she's played for both of her countries, Japan and America.
I believe
And
so.
she is just. I think she plays. I don't know. She did like the Junior Olympics for one of the countries and then like the actual Olympics for the other one. So she has really lived out her dream, and now she gets to live out her dream of being a mom. I hope she comes back to play. She's awesome. She was one of my favorite women tennis players. When I do watch, I really like her style. But if she decides to hang it up and say, "Listen, I've fucking done it. I'm gonna be a mom now. I'm gonna have a good time and love my kids," and she's only like 26 or some shit, like
Yeah.
shout out to her.
I think
That's
she's
fucking
way younger
awesome.
than that.
So I expect she'll be back. But if she's not, she's done it all. She's done everything she needs to do, and um, just be like Naomi Osaka, man. Be awesome. Do what you want to do, and never stop going. And as always, be a stud, not a scrub.